Naples Tower, this is helicopter 357 Lima Hotel, requesting Hunter taxi to spot Charlie with Alpha.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Heli Skunk Works again. This is Rob, and this is our fourth video in the 120SR Beginner's Guide. In this video entitled Tips and Tricks, I'm going to be giving you several things that you can do that will maximize the flyability of the 120 and your flying enjoyment and so forth. So let's get on with it. The first thing that you want to do if you've had your 120 for a little while now and you're pretty good at flying it, you'll want to go ahead and do the advanced swash plate setup that we went through in the last video. It's real easy to do. It'll probably only take you about a minute, and it will make your helicopter fly. It'll give it more agility, it'll make it more nimble and a little quicker. So check out the last video for that. Advanced swash plate setup made simple. Alright, the next thing I want to cover, which I don't hear talked about a lot, is dealing with the rotor blades. First thing to say about the rotor blades is that when you get your 120 from the factory, your main blades are pretty much like this. They flop like that. Well, that flopping is really not the best way to have your main rotor blades. You want them to be tight, just tight enough so that they don't flop, but plenty loose enough that you can easily move it in that blade grip with your finger, just like this. So just take your small Phillips screwdriver and giving it maybe only 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn at a time, go ahead and tighten your blade. Keep checking it. Yeah. Just enough so that it's not free to flop. A little bit more. There we go. I'll do the other one. Okay, so now I've got the main blades tightened down just enough so that they're not free to flop all over the place. But as you can see, if I tilt it, they're not just flopping everywhere. They're holding their position in the blade grip. But I can very easily move it within the blade grip. The reason that you want to do this is so that, well, how can I say this quickly? It can be a complex subject, but we don't have the time for it. In any helicopter, when your blades are spinning, due to various aerodynamic forces, your blades want to do something called leading and lagging. In other words, one will want to go forward in certain situations while the other one will want to lag, go back. One will be leading, one will be going back, and so forth. And normally, okay, with a helicopter this small, two-bladed RC 120 helicopter, it wouldn't make that huge of a difference. It will make a difference, maybe not a real perceptible one, but a difference nevertheless. So you can think of tightening down these screws as sort of a form of kind of a crude lead lag damping system. And I have found that when I have it tightened down like I've just showed you, that it does have a tendency to fly a little bit better, in my opinion, a little bit more stable control and so forth. So that's another thing you'll want to do. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is your battery installation. Here is your battery for your 120. Let's zoom in on this. Now when you're putting the battery in, I put mine in blue side up, yellow side down. But if you put it in, say, blue side down, and you shove the battery all the way down to this point, all right, it's too far in there. That's too far in there like that. And I'll show you why. Make sure these blades are straight. And to get the fly bar perfectly 90 degrees horizontal. If you look at the balance of the thing when I pick it up by the fly bar, you'll see it actually is hanging just a tad forward. It's wanting to go a little bit forward. The proper way to install the battery is indeed with the blue side up, yellow side down, and you only want to put it to that point right there. That way it will be much better in balance, and that translates to your helicopter flying better. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is just the general idea of having spare parts for your 120 SR. And I get asked this, which spare parts should I have for the SR? There's no question about it. Have yourself an extra set of main blades, have yourself an extra tail rotor, and also a fly bar. In a crash, these are the things that are most likely to get damaged. Your main blades, your tail rotor, and your fly bar here. I think the fly bar and the tail rotor are kind of running, they're both running a close second to the main blades, but definitely main blades, fly bar, tail rotor. And if you feel like it, a canopy too. I mean, a canopy getting cracked is not going to really inhibit much, you know, the helicopter's ability to fly unless it's really, really bad, but these things are all critical. So have those on hand for spare parts, and anything else you think you might want to have on hand, such as a pair of extra skids, you know, in case the thing should break or whatnot. All right, the last thing I want to cover quickly is batteries. Your 120 SR comes with one 500 milliamp battery. Flat out, that's not good enough. Get yourself at least 2 batteries, preferably 3, at least 2. When you're flying your helicopter, you're going to have moments where you're getting good. Maybe you'll have an epiphany moment at some point where you're getting really good at some maneuver, what have you, and your battery's going dead. You don't have another one to keep going. If you have another battery, obviously you do. Preferably keep 3 batteries on hand if you want to do a lot of flying at any one particular time, because that way you can have one charging, one's charging, one's in the helicopter, and one is already charged and on standby, so that you can, it's there to be used. Okay guys, the final and last tip has to do with the tail rotor. And as you fly your SR, the tail rotor is it's a little bit flimsy on the 120. I don't know why they didn't make it just a little bit more rigid, but it's kind of flimsy. Anyway, what happens is, as your tail rotor is constantly creating thrust, the blades are creating thrust and it's thrusting this way towards the right. The tip of your blades have a tendency to bend in like this. I'll show you from the back. Bend in like that. So just every now and then, take your blades. I'm going to do this from the back so it's easier to tell what I'm doing. Just take your blades, grip them like this, and just kind of flex them out. Take your blades, grip them like this, and just kind of flex them out a bit, like this, about, I don't know, 30 degrees, 45 degrees. Just kind of flex them out real nice and gentle like, and so they kind of retain their straightness. Because basically you want this thing to be, when you look at it from this angle and perspective, you want it to look straight, not bent in like this, which the MSR had this same problem, if you want to call it a problem, where the blades would eventually bend in, and you want it to be more out, like so. So you can bend your tail rotor out. It'll keep your tail rotor performance up to par and so forth. So that's it, guys. A few tips and tricks for the Blade 120 SR to keep it in good flying health, and which translates to happier flying for you. And until next time, this is Rob from the Heli Skunk Works. Happy flying and take care.